Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today we have one of the North American server community contributors, Virtual Senpai, in the Soviet Tier 10 supercruiser, the Stalingrad. I probably don't need to introduce the Stalingrad, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this ship by now. Virtual Senpai is in well obviously it's a Tier 10 cruiser, so a Tier 10 domination battle here on the North map. It's the North American server, which probably explains why there are only 8 ships per side. It's not a particularly high population server, and sometimes these are just the battles that you get. While he's jockeying for position at the start of the match, there is one announcement regarding World Warships that I would like to make. Today, at 6 PM Greenwich Mean Time, EU community contributor StatsBloke is going to be doing a special World of Warships livestream in support of the charity Help for Heroes. He's going to be supported directly by World of Warships. There are going to be some cool prizes that you can win, including physical ones like the ever-popular plushy torpedoes, tickets to the real HMS Belfast in London, and the Portsmouth Naval Museum, funnily enough in Portsmouth when they reopen, as well as 2 World of Warships HMS Belfasts. As well as the live stream, you'll also have the opportunity to support the charities directly by purchasing some bundles now on sale in the World of Warships premium shop, including poppy patches and flags, as well as HMS Dreadnought and HMS Warspite, also with the various different Remembrance Day consumables. So that's 6 PM Greenwich Mean Time today on StatsBloke's Twitch channel. He may also be streaming on YouTube, I'm not entirely sure, but Twitch is for certain. Anyway, from one EU community contributor back to one North American community contributor, Virtual Senpai, here in the Stalingrad. He seems to be attracting an awful lot of fire from the northern end of the map.
The ship is on fire.
That is a lot of fire coming out of that smoke screen. Is that the gearing? There are 2 destroyers on the enemy team. I'm trying to remember what else they have. Do they have a Minotaur or a Neptune? Actually, no, that's high explosive, so it wouldn't be a British light cruiser. That must be the gearing, judging by the rate of fire. That was a surprisingly large amount of damage. Only the one fire, though, so he's gone undetected. He's looking for the source of that high explosive spam in the smoke screen, but having second thoughts about whether or not he actually wants to take the shot, because there is still a large amount of high explosive spam incoming. All of it blind, and some of it is getting uncomfortably close. Might not be a great idea to light himself up again by blind firing into the smoke. Friendly gearing up ahead, launching his torpedoes into the enemy smoke screen, because smoke screens are torpedo magnets. Enemy gearing's torpedoes have been spotted. At least I think they're the enemy gearings. It's a set of 5. Oh, he's shooting again. Virtual Senpai decides to take the risk, and actually it's no risk whatsoever because the gearing is the only enemy ship close enough to spot him when he fires, and the gearing isn't going to see anything because he's sitting inside a smoke screen. So he actually didn't risk anything there. He managed to take the shot, even though he didn't hit anything, but he had nothing better to shoot at, and he was never going to get detected. Same again. Any luck this time? What is the friendly Thunderer doing, by the way? Yeah, he's heading away. He's not interested in getting any closer to that high explosive spam either, which is not good news for Virtual Senpai, because it means the only backup and support he's likely to have down this side of the map, for at least the next 5 minutes, is going to be that gearing. Now, the gearing is flipping the cap here at Charlie, so that's good. Hopefully, there's no radar over here. Actually, do the enemy team even have any radar? Let me think. They do have a Minotaur, which might have radar, but probably doesn't. And I think they also have a Worcester. But then again, if the Worcester was close enough to the gearing, the friendly one, obviously, in order to radar him, we would be seeing that gearing's health bar rapidly depleting, and it isn't. Now, the Worcester hasn't been spotted yet, so he could be nearby, but judging by the fact that the gearing is sitting there and has managed to cap uninterrupted, I think we can probably take it for granted that the Worcester is not close enough to interfere. You'd think that, though, wouldn't you? I mean, you look at all of the available facts and you try to draw a logical conclusion. Because professionals are predictable. It's the amateurs who consistently take you by surprise. There is the Worcester. And he's not running his radar, because if he was, Virtual Senpai would be radared. He doesn't even appear to be running his hydro, because he just chewed a face full of torpedoes. So I really have no idea what it is that he expects to achieve here. He's not even shooting the gearing. Virtual Senpai's first salvo, a little underwhelming, but to be expected. The Worcester is angled, and his belt armour can defeat the Stalingrad shells at that kind of angle. But then, well, quite sensibly, he doesn't want to face a Stalingrad at point-blank range, so he turns in, but that gives Virtual Senpai the opportunity to, give him a damn good paddling, and save the gearing. Because, of course, the Worcester was spotting him, and the other gearing was shooting at him. One of the enemy Thunderers then pops up. Actually, it's worse than that. 2 enemy Thunderers pop up. Tier 10 British battleships, both on full health, armed with 18-inch guns. Naturally, because he's not stupid, Virtual Senpai goes for the Thunderer, who's given him broadside. Unfortunately, that's a distinctly underwhelming salvo as well. What is that gearing doing? He's shooting, he's not launching torpedoes. Good. That means Virtual Senpai can safely go for it. Shots out again. I'm taking control of the camera here. Again at the Thunderer, showing all of the broadside. Much better result, but still not nearly good enough. Virtual Senpai himself now checking that the gearing is not launching torpedoes. The first Thunderer, possibly afraid of a ram, turns away. 6 citadels, 55,000 damage. The rear turret is swinging around. Come on, this should be an easy kill. And got him. Virtual Senpai still has 1 Thunderer and a gearing to worry about. Now, he is obviously not going to turn out and show broadside to a Thunderer's 18-inch guns. He's going to turn in to nose tank him. Naturally, this is the moment when the gearing chooses to launch the torpedoes. If he deliberately decided to go for a team kill, he couldn't possibly launch those torpedoes at a better time. Virtual Senpai, nothing he can do about the torpedoes, still doesn't want to give broadside to the Thunderer. Scores a few more citadels, but there's nothing he can do to avoid chowing down on 4 friendly fire gearing torps, which you'd expect would have killed him as he finishes off the Thunderer. But this is where the World of Warships anti-team kill mechanics kick in. He's just taken 4 torpedoes from the friendly gearing, who has, of course, turned pink. He's finished off the Thunderer, but there's 1 torpedo that just missed the arse end of the Thunderer, and is going to hit him. But he's already taken so much damage from the gearing that the game has decided enough is enough, and any further friendly fire damage is reflected straight back at him. Now that's justice. That just leaves the enemy gearing, who's on perilously low health, extremely lucky to survive that, and probably wondering where all of his friends went. Perhaps unsurprisingly, he panics, pops his smoke, but seems to have forgotten that the Stalingrad is a radar cruiser. And if the secondaries don't get him, those will. He does manage to hit Virtual Senpai with 1 torpedo, but it's not enough to kill him. Ordinarily, under most circumstances, it would have been, because the gearing's torpedoes can do nearly 20,000 damage, and that hits square on the arse, nowhere near the torpedo belt. Fortunately, depending on how you look at it, thanks to the colossal amount of team damage done by the friendly gearing, Virtual Senpai's stern was damage saturated, and so the torpedo didn't do full damage. It turns out the friendly gearing was actually useful for something after all. And I do love Virtual Senpai's comments there in chat. I don't know if you caught them. He basically just said, "So, Thunderers, care to explain?" There are only 8 ships on the enemy team. Senpai's killed 4 of them, and pretty much without any help from anybody. The enemy team have managed to actually get their first kill, finishing off the other remaining destroyer, yet another gearing, on Virtual Senpai's team. I think it's fairly safe to say that Virtual Senpai's team are in not much danger of losing this battle. And it will probably all be over very, very soon, but there were so many things that I loved about this replay. Virtual Senpai going pretty much alone because, well, the friendly gearing was more hindrance than help, against 2 18-inch gun-armed Tier 10 battleships and a Tier 10 destroyer and a Tier 10 cruiser, taking almost as much damage from his own teammates as he did from the enemy, and yet somehow managing to come out victorious. The gearing was absolutely hilarious. He couldn't possibly have picked a worse opportunity to fire the torpedoes than he did. And justice was done. He ended up team killing himself. The enemy Worcester, I can't even begin to explain why a cruiser with that number of rapid-firing 6-inch guns, equipped with both hydro and radar, chose to YOLO right into a Gearing's smokescreen without using the hydro or the radar, chew on a bunch of torpedoes, and then turn to give broadside to a Stalingrad. But, well, we're glad he did. Radar's back up, there's the Gearing, and the only thing that remains is to finish off this episode with kill number 5 for Virtual Senpai in the Stalingrad. That's it for today, folks. I hope you were as amused by this battle as I was, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.